Welcome to the Lost and Found podcast. I'm your host, Amanda. Join me each week as I rediscover my life's meaning, my passions, and my place in this world after leaving behind the only dream I've ever known. If you are dealing with self-loss, identity changes, career transitions, or you are still trying to figure out your life's purpose, then you're not alone. Join me. Wanderers are always welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lost and Found podcast. This is your host, Amanda. I'm so excited to be here for our very first What Would a Wanderer Do? So, on Wednesdays for the month of June in 2025, I'm trying this out to see what you guys think and if it works for just the general flow of this show and see how we like it. But as I explained in the previous episode, so what came out, it should be episode 83. It came out on Monday, June 9th. I explained that I'm trying out a new series. So Monday is your Monday mantra. Ideally, that'll start to become just a 5 to 10 minute episode to kickstart your week and get you ready and zoned in and hopefully helping you manifest and do whatever it is that you need to do to keep you focused on your goals and keep you centered and grounded in your purpose and make you feel empowered. Wednesday is when I would like to connect with a individual who listens to the show. So any listeners, community members, wanderers who are participating with the Lost and Found in and of itself or with myself, if they've submitted questions or asked things, this is the opportunity for me to actually get back to you in a more long form format versus just responding to DMs or just responding to the comments and reviews and things like that. But not to say to stop doing that. So please, if you haven't liked the show yet or left a review, sent me some 5 stars on Apple or Spotify, left a comment on YouTube, stop. Go do that right now. Come right back real quick. I'll wait for you. But today I have what feels, we're just sending it out in June and I got this email back in May, but I feel bad that it's taken me a while to get to it, but I wanted to still kind of hop on it because I think it's relatively new for the time of year and still relevant to what has just happened. So this was an email from, it sounds like a mother, so a woman, and she sent me an email kind of asking about some advice for how to build her life after her kids have graduated and that this is graduation season and everybody's moving on to different chapters and she's moving on now to being a empty nester. And I thought this was super relevant because my niece and nephew just recently graduated from high school in Tennessee. And so we went with my sister to their graduation. And so I took a lot of notes while I was at that graduation. So I figured, this is timely still, and I am honored that someone would, 1, want to talk to me, but then 2, trust my opinion about any of this because I don't have kids. However, I think I can at least help you with what happened to me and what gave me insight about my own life and starting new chapters, and hopefully it'll help her. But if any of you listening have advice for this woman as well, please write in. Please send her some feedback. Let us know what you think of the episode and what you would do if you had been in her situation. And maybe if you're a parent who is also an empty nester or got used to that or had a difficult time transitioning into being an empty nester, maybe you can help her as well. So for this episode, we're going to keep it pretty straightforward. This on Wednesdays is the day that you get to submit questions. I will read them on air on the podcast and answer as best I can. So without further ado, our very first Wanderer Wisdom Wednesday, or What Would a Wanderer Do? I haven't really decided what to call it yet, but here we go. All right, it's a bit of a long one, so here we go. Hi, Amanda. It's nice to informally meet you. I have no idea if you'll ever read this, but I thought it was worth a shot to try. A friend sent my oldest daughter your show, and we've related to it so much. Aw, great. I'm so happy to hear that. Here's my issue. I've recently become an empty nester. I met my husband almost 40 years ago in college, and we fell in love. We both moved from our small college town to a major city afterwards to start our first jobs. My husband finished law school, and I started to think about going back to grad school, but we got pregnant, and I stopped applying for master's programs. There was no way I could do both school, be a wife, and a new mom all in my early to mid-20s. It was too much. My husband was doing well in his career, and we decided to save money. So it made sense for me to stay home with our firstborn, and then I could try school again after she went to kindergarten or first grade. Well, one thing led to another, and we had two more kids. Time flies by, and between the three sports practices, dance lessons, sleepovers, school plays, and everything in between that it takes to raise a family and manage a household, there wasn't much time left for me at the end of the day. But fast forward a decade, and now I'm an empty nester. My youngest has just graduated high school and is ready to move to college, out of state, but still reasonably close so we can be there if she needs us. But I couldn't help but think to myself, well, now what? Well, now what? I'm pretending I have no idea if that's how she said it, but that's how she wrote it. Well, now what? Don't get me wrong. I know I'll forever be in my children's lives and they will still need me, but there's so much silence in our house now. I feel too old to start over or get a new hobby, but maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. I haven't seen my close friends in months or even done a solo vacation with my husband in years. He hasn't fully retired yet, so he is not always home either, and I can feel myself sinking into the couch and not being worried about when I'll get up. And that lack of worry or caring is what scares me. What am I doing now, or what am I doing now that I'm not needing to be mom or on all day? What do I want anyway? There has to be more than just endless to-do lists trying to catch up on projects that I never finished when the kids were around. What do you think? I know you don't have kids, but any insight into what helped you get back up metaphorically would be so helpful. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Well, to this wanderer, our very first episode. Sorry, there is a bug in the room and it is distracting me. To our very first wanderer submission, thank you. I'm honored that you would trust me to, one, hear your story, and two, to help you out. You are correct. I do not have children. I have never had the experience of bringing a child into the world or raising it and then setting it off into the world to live on its own or to go to college. So more power to you. Let me just say that up front. To what sounds like you've had a long and successful marriage with three wonderful children. They've all been successful and made it on to college. And from what I can tell, you care very deeply for your family. You have a lot of pride in being there for them and being a matriarch figure and being there for people that you care about. And that's obviously really, really important. And I don't ever want you to think that just because your job title might have, kind of changed, or the role of mom has now evolved, it doesn't mean that it went completely away. Your identity now no longer prioritizes your children in the same way that it did when they were younger, but that just means, I think, you now have more room for your own personal growth. What sounds like you were pouring into everybody else's cup, but not your own for a really long time. And when you have that much depleted necessity, if your own personal health and self-care have taken a backseat, I don't know, right? Like, you didn't mention anything about health in here. You didn't mention anything about your fitness or what your daily routine looks like now without children. But my guess is that you'll get to do a lot of what my parents do now. So they're much closer to this stage of where they're about to welcome a grandchild, but they're also still taking care of their own aging parents. So they're sitting in the next level of crossroads that you will probably have later on in life, where your children are done and out and they're settled and they're okay and you can support them. But now it'll eventually be your turn to possibly have to take care of your own parents. I don't know if you still have parents or not, but that is an opportunity that I think will come, which will also shift your identity. But the point here, I think it's okay to grieve if that's what it is that's going on. If you are grieving your old life or your old identity as mom, momager, mom, house manager, chauffeur, support system, personal chef, personal laundress, like, you were doing a lot. You had a lot of hats. And now I think they're just consolidated because the consumer of those services no longer lives there. So I wouldn't mourn her for too long, because she's still there. She's still in there. That woman is still vibrant and capable and strong. And just because you didn't get the chance to go back to school when you wanted to go back to school The great thing about education systems, at least right now, is that they all still exist. There are still lots of programs. I have not been in school for a very long time, so I don't know what the process is like anymore to go back to school. Like if you would need to go and study to take the GRE and apply for a program. But now that you don't have your kids, would you want to go back? Would you want to be a non-traditional student? You could do a lot of the classes online. So if you and your husband were thinking about traveling more, like going on that vacation or meeting up with your friends again and, finding a map and placing your finger on it and going, I guess we're going to Bulgaria or we're going to Europe, we're going to South America, we're going to finally go on that safari in Africa, whatever it is, you do you. Now that you don't have your children around 24/7, this is the actual opportune time for you to do whatever phase of reinvention I think you want. If you did have a hobby that you enjoyed doing when they weren't around, now's the time to pick that back up. I know you were teasing about getting projects done or having those to-do lists. You are correct. I think there's so much more to life than just having a to-do list, but what is something that you've always wanted to do and you never had the opportunity to try it yet because you always had your kids? So even if it's something small, there are new restaurants in your town wherever you live. I used to live in Nashville, so for me, there's constantly new bars and new restaurants popping up all over, new clubs, new music venues, new art exhibits, new festivals that were going on that I did not always get the chance to take advantage of, right? Just because I had general life to do and I was working or I was doing podcasting or the friends I wanted to go with weren't around, whatever. Now's the time to go and do it. Sign up for a newsletter or email blast or Instagram profiles. Possibly if you're on any of the social media, you can follow what that town is doing. Like just follow some different profiles that are telling you, what's going on this weekend. Or in Nashville, there was a blogger that did work. They called it Work-Life Balance Nashville. And so they would write their weekly email that would explain, here's all the things you can do after work in this town. And it would list off all the different neighborhoods, what was going on in each different place. You could, decide, I want to do the goat yoga and try the new coffee dispensary or whatever. I want to go to that baseball game. I didn't know that we were bringing in XYZ team to play, or I'm going to go to that soccer game. I'm going to do that hockey thing. Like I'm going to go to that concert venue, whatever. I would sign up for newsletters like that, get more involved in your community, try a bunch of stuff. Like even if you don't like it, you did once and you go, I would never do this again. Okay, great. But at least you got out there, at least you tried. If your husband doesn't want to go or he can go with you, obviously you could turn it into a date night. You could reconnect with each other because you have put your children first. I know that some married couples talk about that being a struggle for them. They put their children so far in front of everything else that not only do they forget about taking care of themselves, but they forget about, reconnecting and taking care of each other. And that the foundation of your family came from the relationship you had with your partner to begin with. And you don't want that to fall through the cracks. You don't want that foundation to break and crumble. And so I think now's your chance to date each other again. If you weren't, continuing that throughout the entire 40 years, also huge congrats to the 40 years. That's amazing. An incredible, incredible feat. But that's what I would think about. Do the home projects. I know you were teasing about it, those to-do lists, but I think you'll feel so much better. Do the home projects that you never got to do when the kids were around because they were always running around, breaking things, crashing into things, tearing things up. I know my mom did not get to live in the quote unquote dream house or her ideal dream house until well after my brother and I had moved out because we were always cutting and ripping and jumping and playing and drawing and doing all sorts of things and scratching her favorite things. And I now understand a little bit better. I have a whole lot more empathy for my mother. Not that I've had children yet, but I've had a dog and he has scratched or licked or cut or peed on or done any sorts of things, bit things that I loved, things that I was very proud of myself for buying. And I bought it for myself without thinking about the fact that I have a dog. And you can't, this is why we cannot have nice things. But you don't have any kids now, so you can invest in nice things for yourself. And they can even be small, right? Like if you didn't used to have your coffee in peace, now you can wake up and go to your kitchen or go to your local coffee shop, order a latte or a matcha, whatever it is that you drink, and sit down and have no one pulling on your leg, no one screaming your name, no one asking you where in the hell is the remote, no one telling you, you forgot to help me with my science project. It's due. I didn't read my book report. Now I have to I have to do a giant presentation on the grapes of wrath and I don't know anything about it. Like, not your problem. Not your problem. You now get to wake up, drink your coffee or your tea in the morning, go to your workout class, come home, work on your projects, plan a vacation, a romantic getaway with you and your husband, and live your life. It's a sad time, I'm sure, because your children mean so much to you, and it's heartwarming and heartbreaking, right? To see them grow up and move on, and like you remember what it felt like to move out of your home and go to college. You're now understanding why your parents were scared for you and why it was so tough on them when you left for school, and it's just coming full circle. And so I think maybe a lot of emotions are hitting you all at once, and that's okay. I think that's perfectly normal. It makes sense for what's happening in your life right now. But if you really are starting to feel yourself slip towards sadness rather than embracing all the opportunity that is standing before you. And again, you only gave me a snippet of your life. I don't know what your other responsibilities are. So if you have an elderly parent that you're taking care of, if you have health issues, or if you have other responsibilities in your town or things that you're doing, if you're a volunteer on a community somewhere, if you have a book club, like I don't know. So obviously you take whatever I'm saying with a grain of salt, but that is what I think makes the most sense for the letter that you wrote, or the email that you wrote technically. But for me, since you asked what did I do, or what helped me get off my metaphorical couch, or what helped me stop sinking into the abyss, the day that I decided to sit down and actually record an episode, it was one of those intuitive moments, which again, I don't know how many people believe in that or believe in the talk of your intuition speaking to you in that kind of way. Some people hear a voice, some people have a gut feeling, some people pray, right? Like have conversational prayer. I just had the voice, and the voice basically told me, if you don't do something or find a way to talk about how you're feeling, who you are will cease to exist. And I got off the couch, metaphorically, I got off the couch out of desperation. I was sad, I was depressed, I was becoming a shell of who I used to be, or who I thought I was, right? Like the shedding of that old identity was a very difficult thing for me to deal with. I had lost so much of what used to be important to me that the idea of ceasing to exist at all. I'm not saying this to say that I was suicidal. I wasn't, but the essence of who I was under threat. And if I didn't do something, anything, it didn't have to be perfect, it didn't have to be good, it just needed to be something to crack me wide open. And so I started the podcast. I had already bought all the equipment months before, because I had tried to start a show. I think we called it the Traveling Trio or something like that. Single not dead females, which I still would love to do. I wish Courtney and Mary Kate would, if they'd be down for that still in the future. Maybe when I get famous enough off of this one. I'm just kidding. If I have more success with the Lost and Found, they might be interested in single not dead females, but that would also assume that we were all still single. I don't know. So anyway, I had bought the equipment for that show. We couldn't get it off the ground, and that's okay. Our good friend Mary Kate ended up moving, and so she had to pivot, and so I never did anything with it. And I was still technically, I think, federal at the time, or I had just recently moved away or something like that. Anyway, we didn't get it going, and so I already had the equipment, and when I heard that voice say, "You will cease to exist," that was kind of it. It clicked for me, like, do something, do anything. And I'm really proud of you, because if you wrote this letter, that was your moment. That was you realizing, hey, you're sinking further and further into this couch. If you sink too much or you sit too long, you will cease to exist, metaphorically, right? So I say more power to you, because one, you've already completed the hardest job in the world, which is raising children and bringing them to adulthood as survived adults. Congratulations on that. Two, you have sustained a romantic relationship for almost 40 years. That's a feat in and of itself. So congratulations to you on that. And three, you've already reached out for help when you knew that something was wrong. And it takes a whole lot of courage and a whole lot of vulnerability to share how you truly feel. So I'm really proud of you for not only going through all the sacrifices that it took to start and raise your family and be a foundation and the rock for them to help make everybody else around you successful. Now it is your turn. It is your turn to invest in yourself. It is your turn to take a risk on something. If you've never tried it before, if you want to go back to school, look up opportunities to go back to school. If it needs to be flexible, There are thousands and thousands of now accredited programs and schools you can do online, or certificates if you just want to, dip your toe in the water, maybe not a full master's yet. It's okay. There are lots of opportunities for people to do that. There are lots of opportunities for free training. So like, what if you want to pivot completely and try an industry you've never been involved in before? Shoot your shot, right? Or say you don't want to do that at all. Maybe you've always dreamed of becoming the next, Chip and Joanna Gaines, and you want to flip houses, or you want to start a TikTok page about you baking sourdough. If that's your favorite thing that your kids made throughout their lives, teach other people how to make the recipes and see what happens. Like, I don't know. The sky's the limit, quite honestly. I know it feels terrifying because you think, oh my gosh, I've never had so much opportunity in front of me before. What do I do? How do I pick something? Pick anything. Just try it out. See what happens. If you like it, keep it. If you don't like it, toss it. That's the coolest part, right? About having personal agency. You get to try and keep and go for whatever makes sense for you at the time. And for whatever future life you want to build with your partner, with your husband, or for your children, whatever legacy you're hoping to leave behind. Maybe you guys are working on finances and you're building out a second business or whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know. Again, very limited information in this email, but that's what I would do. Like, don't beat yourself up so much about feeling lost or having no idea what to do now that your last child has graduated and will be moved on or moved out. I know that silence feels deafening. That silence feels loud, but that silence will only become all-consuming if you let it. And it's terrifying to sit with your own thoughts if you haven't done that in a long time. But that's where I would start. Acknowledge, what you've accomplished so far, and accept the gratitude, and hopefully your family is grateful and appreciative for everything that you've done for them. But now it's your turn to go out and try something else. Try to take care of you. Do what you love. Go to the classes you like. Cook the dinner the way that you like it. Watch the shows that you want to watch that may not be catered to what everybody else wants. Lean into that. And I think you'll end up having the opportunity to fall back in love with yourself as you take care of yourself. And I think if you include your husband in on this process, like, tell him how you've been feeling, let him know that, like, this is where my mind's at and this is what I'm worried about. But here are the things that I'm going to do to address it. I'm sure you wouldn't have a 40-year marriage if you hadn't figured out how to communicate your wants and your needs with each other, and not just coming to him with complaints, but trying to come to him with, this is my problem, this is what I'm worried about, and here's what I think I need to do to address it. And hopefully he is supportive of whatever solution it is that you're thinking of. But that's what I would go for. And what you're feeling is completely normal. If there's other women's groups, or I don't know if you were close with any of your other children's friends, mothers, I don't know if any of those women are close with you or not, but they'll be going through the exact same things, exact same feelings if that was their last child as well. Lean into those groups. Find a book club, find other like-minded women who are going through similar life stages as you are. Leaning on that community helps. I don't have a whole lot of other podcasters. I'm the only one in my family, as far as I know, that's doing anything major with content creation. One of my cousins, she just finished a creative writing program in Ireland. So she's a writer. She's a creative. But I'm branching out doing something totally weird and new and different from what the rest of my family does. So don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about how you feel. But also understand that you reached out for help for a reason. And I think deep down you want to take it. So go forth, be fruitful and successful as you already have been. I have full faith in you that you will find a way back to yourself. But you've already done the very first step, which is pour into other people's cups to make sure that they are successful. And that's very generous of you. And step number 2, asking for help when you realized you had a problem. That's so important and courageous. And now step number 3 is taking the risk on yourself. Invest in the things that you have always wanted to try. Invest in the things that will help you rediscover who you are, what you like and what you don't like, what it feels like to be you without children. Because as you said in the email, you haven't lived that life since your early 20s. Get back to her. What did she like to do? What did she want to do? What did she want to try? And if you haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, go do it. But that's all I have for this week, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. If you would like to participate in the What Would a Wanderer Do or the Wisdom Wednesdays with me, feel free to send me an email at hello@podcastforlost.com, or you can send me a direct message on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can leave comments here on the video on YouTube. Please, feel free. I'm looking at all the comments on all the platforms on Apple and Spotify. Like, subscribe, share, leave a review like this woman did, shared it with her friends, or a friend shared it with her. It means the world to me. It really, really does. I love seeing everyone take advantage of this and use it and enjoy it and hopefully find value in it the way that I have. And you want to say hi, Dirks? Yeah? Hello? Hello, my name is Dirks. Sorry, he keeps trying to paw me while I'm talking, but whatever. Love you guys. I'm so grateful that you are here and supporting the show and participating. It means the absolute world to me. If you ever have a question, send it to me and I will answer it on a Wednesday episode. And until then, we'll chat next week. Next episode should be coming out on Friday, the 13th. But love you, mean it. Have a wonderful day, night, evening, whenever you're listening to this. And I will chat with you soon. And remember, wanderers are always welcome.